free online resource from the nonprofit National Endowment for Financial Education, smartaboutmoney.org, the easy place to start when you want to get smart.
1230 WBZT West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station. This report is streamed live on our iHeartRadio app. Download it now.
We're looking at another cloudy and windy day in Palm Beach County. The wind will be sustained around 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 30. Some isolated showers will blow in off of this wind, too. Highs this afternoon will struggle to get to 82 degrees due to all the clouds up overhead. Low humidity will continue to make it feel nice, but the humidity will increase next week, as will our rain chances, and it will be very summer-like by the end of the week. I'm Storm Team 5 meteorologist Tyler Malden for 1230 WBZT.
This report is brought to you by Think It Up.
Hi, I'm Nick Jonas, and I'm here to tell you about Think It Up, a new initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join us at thinkitup.org.
1230 WBZT. The thoughts and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and don't necessarily reflect those of the station or iHeartMedia.
Hi, it's Leah, here to tell you about Dr. Anthony Pannozzo. He's a pain specialist located in southern Palm Beach County, so if you are somebody that you know is suffering in pain, Dr. Pannozzo is the one you guys need to call. And make that call today, because living in pain is no way to go through life. Dr. Pannozzo has been in practice now for more than 49 years. He's treated more than 73,000 patients for pain. He's an expert when it comes to diagnosing the pain, and he has had huge turnarounds. In fact, people living with scoliosis, he has had nearly a 100% turnaround. Lumbar pain as well. If you've got lower back pain, if you're suffering with migraines or flat feet pain, maybe pain in your elbows, your neck, your shoulders, Dr. Pannozzo can help you. And the greatest thing is he can help you without drugs, without surgery, and without having to go through weeks and months of rehabilitation. Give him a call today. Set up an appointment. It's 561-381-5800. Tune into his show Sundays, 11 to noon. And now, here's this week's edition of the Dr. Pannozzo Sports and Medicine Hour.
Good morning, everybody.
She sounds good, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Well, that's because you fixed her and she has more pain. Yeah. So today we have a special show. We have a special guest. Well, we're going to get to her later on. But I first want to introduce my amazing crew here. We've got our producer back there. How you doing, Colleen? Colin doesn't like to talk, just likes to wave to me. And we've got Freddy Santori from Am2.tv, who helps put the show together with the help of his wonderful son, Gio. And without the man sitting to my...
And who are you?
I'm just some guy that's trying to make a couple bucks here on the side. I'm Les. I try to keep the show organized. And we have today Dr. Pannozzo, as always. Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Are you able to work with such a beautiful woman next to you?
Well, it's very hard.
Okay.
Can't keep my eyes off her.
Thank you.
And we have Lisa. See if I pronounce it, Dwoskin?
Dwoskin, yeah.
I know you and the doc were having a nice little friendly debate here. Tell everyone what you do, and the doc will just chime in if he doesn't like what you do.
Okay, I'm a fitness expert, personal trainer, life coach. And we were debating about if stretching is good, if it's not good, if you could actually prevent injuries with physical therapy or rehab. And it's very interesting to hear what he has to say, because I think a lot of people out there need to hear this. So go ahead, Doc. Tell us.
Tell us about stretching. I mean, ever since I stretched my whole career.
If you have to stretch every day,
right,
you have something to treat.
Right.
And it's usually ligament, not muscle.
Okay.
Muscles never have anything to do with anything. They're just there. They lengthen, they shorten, automatic. The brain tells them what to do. They're just there.
Okay.
If you have a muscle strain, it's only going to be 3 days. That's all.
Really?
And it'll take care of itself. But ligaments never do, and that's what people are stretching. Now, if you have to stretch every day, or you have to pay someone to help you stretch, you got to have a treatment on that. Mm-hmm. And so people like me will diagnose the area and treat it right, and then you can go do whatever you want after that.
Amazing, isn't it? I mean, think about that with all the people that come in with
personal
pain.
trainers
Right.
have to know this, because their clients depend on them the client has to be able to take the program, right?
Right.
I've always said this. If you want to have a big practice doing personal training, then you want to take care of the people with the pain. So
Yeah.
they'll keep coming back.
Right,
it's-
of course.
Okay, but it's hard to do if all you know is stretching or surgery or something like that.
Well, I think people today are obsessive with the stretching because the gyms that I work at, they all want stretching classes. But I think maybe in their mind they think that it's helping them or preventing injuries, but in reality it's just making them feel better temporarily.
But it's temporarily, and there's something to treat, and they're going to get worse. So if you have something to stretch, there's a ligament behind that, and so what are you stretching anyway? The lower back? The whole concept of core is nuts.
Uh-oh, we're going to talk about core?
Oh, yeah.
I tried to find out what this is, and all it is sit-ups. It's a stomach, but that's not where the problem is.
Pilates today, everything, all the women are obsessive with building their core, but when you
I see
have
some fat people in Pilates.
Well, the
but
core
when you
has
have a
nothing- the
stronger core,
has-
it doesn't support your lower back a little
No.
bit better?
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
because
tell me why.
The pain in the lower back is a ligament pain. What does that have to do with the stomach?
Okay.
I think that the Pilates and all that other stuff builds the muscle, correct?
Right.
So you're cut.
Uh-huh.
If you injure yourself when you're doing this thing, then you see Dr. Pannozzo and you go back to working out your
You
muscle.
get the pain out of the way, then you go back to doing
can do
whatever you want
whatever
to do.
Right. Now,
So-
what about your posture? To help your posture,
Posture.
exercise would definitely help that, right?
No, it does not.
Oh, this is a good one
This is a
today,
good
Freddie. We wanted someone to ask you these questions. That hold it. If you disagree with Dr. Pannozzo and you agree with Lisa, 800-889-0267. That's 800-889-0267. This is what I like. A fiery. Oh, this is good.
Well, this is interesting because you
Yeah.
got somebody who teaches
Now, what was
this
the
for a
question
living.
before you interrupted?
Posture.
Posture. That was not.
Exercise, doesn't it help?
Posture. No, posture is a result of your spine. It has nothing to do with you. It's the way you are. You can't see yourself in 3-dimension, only 2-dimension. Remember? So if somebody says, "Oh, you're bending over, straighten up," especially to the kid, straighten up, they hit you on the back. That's not going to help that.
Right, no, that's not going to help.
Now,
They're
when
gonna
you
build
have
that one.
when you have a bone that slips into another bone, you have a curvature there. There goes your posture.
And that's scoliosis.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that one.
What are you turning into a mockingbird? when he helped me,
Yeah.
which had nothing to do with my spine, where he helped me,
Right.
I grew 2.5 inches.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, Doc?
Right, you did.
And we almost got killed with him jumping around in the sidewalk in the traffic.
That's another story.
Yeah, we don't want to tell that one again.
But what happens is that as he removes the inflammation, you begin to stand up straight.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the pain that bends you over.
Okay, but before you're injured, let's get back to the working out part. You working out your chest, and then you have to work out your back muscles, the opposing muscles. So getting back to the lower back, with a tight core and a more stable core, I still don't understand how that can't help your lower back. Explain that more in depth to me. For those callers out there, call in if you agree with Lisa.
These trainers, I'm telling you, call in, guys. We want to hear this. This is exciting.
Okay.
Because you can't stump them.
Right.
People have tried. They can't.
No, I just want to get
because
that.
I know what causes a pain.
Cause and effect.
A stiffness is a pain.
Right.
It's not a big pain, but it's still a pain.
Okay, but before you get the pain, to prevent the pain,
You
can't
cannot.
you,
You cannot prevent.
strengthen the lower back by having a tighter, stronger
You can
core?
try. You can try, but that's not going to.
Well, she's living proof that you can't. Lisa, you've had
Well, I was just
strained
going
your
to
back.
say, yeah, I have back issues,
Yeah.
but I've never been in so much pain that I've needed help for it, because I believe my muscles are so strong and I'm in such amazing shape from working out that I'm actually helping myself from really getting injured.
Yeah, well, maybe you don't have that big of a problem.
That's
And I'm
because
not
she's
that
only
young.
28 right now. You wait till you get a little
Only
older, honey.
25 now.
When you get a little older, you try to get out of bed.
I have shoes that are 28 years old.
Oh gosh. No, I do feel a little bit more pain now than I
Of
used
course.
to, but it's not so
But
severe.
Not yet.
Pain has nothing to do with age either.
Yeah. Well, wear
So
and
what he
tear,
just said-
right?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Doc, I have a whole lot more pain today than when I was 40.
No.
No? I used
Well,
to
you-
catch when I was 40.
Well,
Father Age caught up to me.
your ligaments do stiffen up as you get older.
Yes.
There is tissue in the ligament for stretchability. Now, as you get older, you lose that kind of fiber. So there's a fiber in there.
That's 100%
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
And so as you
That
get
is
older, you
very
lose
true.
the stretchability fiber. What's it called? Purkinje fiber, I think. Anyway,
This is a new subject.
yeah.
This is a new word.
This is very deep. Do you think I'm coming out here without being really deep? You know what I'm talking about?
We surprised you
It's
with
the
Lisa. You didn't know she was coming. That's your surprise.
I didn't know you were coming.
No, you know what I do want to talk about? I loved what we talked about right before we went on air. That in my book, I talked about I had heart surgery because I had a hole in my heart and I wasn't
Wow.
getting enough oxygen to my brain. And during that time, I suffered tremendously with vertigo. And the doctor and I were talking before we went on air about vertigo. And he said something which I agree 100%. The vertigo had nothing to do with the hole in my heart. The vertigo had to do with my neck, which is so true. And at the time, I related the vertigo to my heart, but I still get it, and my heart is fine right now. So let's talk a little
You
bit
wanna make
about
an appointment
vertigo.
now?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see him. But I know there's so many people out there suffering from vertigo.
That's why we do the show.
Yeah, so
Well,
can you explain that a
So
little
what
bit?
happened with vertigo is, and I was taught this 50 years ago in school. I mean, you know, it's the same thing. They still do the same thing today, without results.
Right.
Now, in my estimation, if you don't get a good result on what you do, you shouldn't be doing it.
Correct.
I mean,
Three
but
times.
they have nothing else to offer.
Right.
So maybe sometime it helps. So that's the theory there.
Yeah.
But we, by accident, found out that when we were treating migraine, we also treated vertigo. So it's vertigo is from the same place that causes migraine. It's one joint in the base of the neck.
And you know what's so amazing to me? In all the gyms I've been at, and I own my own gym, I had so many people come up to me because I became the vertigo expert because I was taught from the University of Miami that the crystals going around the
More
fluid
crystals.
in your head.
We went to the same school. I was looking to pick up women. She was looking for crystals. I mean,
So where did you get the
crystals-
concept of crystals?
Because I went to so many different
Neurologist.
doctors for vertigo.
That's what they told you?
And they said that the fluid going around our brain
Crystallized?
has crystals. And the crystals fall out of place. And when they fall out of place is what causes vertigo. Okay, so one doctor tells me to sit on the bed, fall backwards, fall forward, fall sideways. I literally would do this 3
You got rid
times
of
a
the
day
Well, let's
for
not-
24 hours.
Let's not talk about that. We know that's wrong. It didn't.
Right.
help you.
No, it
It
didn't.
will never help you.
Right.
And they were wrong in telling you that.
But why do so many doctors
Because
not
that's what
understand this?
That's what they're taught. And
Right.
so you do whatever you're taught. So the big guy from University of who knows where writes a paper and says this, and so it says, oh, okay, I got something to do, I'll follow this. That's what happens with the literature.
Yeah.
And they're afraid not to do it because they're afraid of getting sued. If they don't do what the big guy says, you can get sued for that.
So for the 6 months that I suffered with vertigo, if I would have come and seen you and you would have helped me, it would have taken one time.
one visit.
One,
Wow, that's amazing.
The two
One day.
ladies, and I always mention these two ladies. One was in her 40s,
Right.
the other was in her 60s, and they both suffered from the same thing. The one that was in her 60s came in for the vertigo shot, and she
Yeah.
was gone. She was bending her head, and that convinced the younger girl. Now, the younger girl, when I tell you, had more, I mean, I know forever, and this is the first time in her life
Yeah.
that she hasn't had vertigo.
Wow.
And that came by accident, I think,
now,
right?
out of all these we
Yeah.
treated, only one came back, and the vertigo was on the other side.
Correct.
So there's two sides. And so we took it off of one side. She came back, and I took it off the second side.
And it's
I
gone.
haven't seen her
That's
since.
amazing.
But
'cause-
you know, Doc, I think something that Lisa brought up is really important. She went to a doctor 6 months. Now, we always talk about length of time of...
3 visits is
Exactly. We talk about length of time. If it ain't working, why do you keep going back, right? 6 months she went through this. And because the doctors told her there was crystals, maybe there were gold crystals, who knows? Maybe you got a head full of gold.
They turned out to be gold.
And
to the doctor, yes.
Yeah, that's true.
and you can cure this with one visit. People have to put their hands around that. I mean, it's important to
true.
understand that concept.
Very
Well,
true.
they don't believe it,
They don't believe it.
but it is true.
Well, for all the non-believers, you could go to Pannozzo. That's PANNOZZO.TV. And you could look at all of the things that Dr. Pannozzo has done, so you could actually see x-rays for people with scoliosis, which we'll talk about that later. But the amazing thing is, you're not going to get better. unless you go see someone that actually specializes in pain.
Now, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask Lisa about that because, Lisa, you deal with athletes in the professional world,
Yeah, professional
right?
athletes.
I mean, Lawrence Taylor was on your show.
Yeah, Rocky Johnson.
A little plug
Rocky
into her
Johnson.
show.
The Rock's
little plug
dad.
into her show. She does a show on
Thank
Monday
you.
nights on WNN 1470.
I don't want to give WNN any promos. So
We're giving Lisa's show the promo.
Oh, Lisa's okay. But
5 o'clock, WNN 1470.
I'll promote Lisa, yes.
Thank you.
But the funny thing is that you deal with these athletes, and like LT was on your show,
Right.
and he's still in pain.
Yes.
And this is the NFL, Doc. The NFL, he played for the NFL. They didn't cure his pain, and he says that sometimes it's hard to hold a golf club.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it's important to cut, because when you go to him, you don't go back.
Right.
He's out the door and you're gone.
And I consider LT to be one of the greatest players ever.
One of the things is, if they know about LT in the NFL, people that don't know any better will follow that. They'll say, well, they did this to him, and so that must be the way to go.
Exactly.
So they get more neck operations, more knees, more hips, more everything. And hardly any of that's necessary because these surgeons that run those NFL programs don't do musculoskeletal treatment like I do. They do surgery. So you want to stay away from them until that's the last resort. And so who else do you have? You have a trainer, and occasionally they might get a specialist to come in and help a little bit, but it's in the hands of the surgeon and the trainer. And the trainer goes to trade school.
Well, let me tell you this.
Just like the therapist go.
We all heard of Eddie Lacy, right?
Yes.
Eddie Lacy's out for 4 weeks with a groin injury.
Baloney.
Yeah.
Is that amazing?
And what you're
saying... It's amazing they put up with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are they going to do? I mean,
there's big money there wasted on the bench.
Of course.
And he makes
that's
a
what
lot
I
of
was
money.
just about to say. What Freddy's saying is true.
They're not going to be able to come and see me because they're going to say, well, he's going to use shots on you that, it's prohibited by law, but that's not true.
No, it's not because it's not on. I looked at the list.
It's not on the list.
Of all things that the NFL does not want, what you give is definitely not on the list. What you give is FDA approved, but it's not on the list. So any athlete can't take
it's just an anti-inflammatory.
It's an anti-inflammatory.
Does not build muscle at all.
So let me explain something to everyone listening, because after being with this man for a couple of years, I found out he gives the inflammatory injection in the right place. That's the difference.
Yeah. That's the difference.
We were sitting today at a restaurant, and this waitress was telling me, I got a shot in my butt. I said, but the pain isn't in your butt, is it? She says, no, but that's where they put it. I said, oh. So the shot in your butt says, wait a second, I'm going to go up to the neck now because that's where.
Yeah.
Okay. The key to what Dr. Pannozzo does is, to me, is the most amazing thing. He can actually show you where the pain's coming from. He could show you on an X-ray where that pain is emanating from and get rid of it because you cannot leave his office.
Right.
That pain is gone.
I got to tell you, you can actually see the things work.
Yeah.
I had a 23-year-old yesterday, Friday, with the shoulder pain, and I put him on the C-arm, the fluoroscope, and you could see the scar. You have to interpret this, but the bone was way up like this.
Right.
So I selected that place, put my anti-inflammatory in it, and in 2 minutes, I took another view of that, and it was already down.
Wow.
Released just like that.
Yeah.
Now, what more do you want? This is true.
No, that's great.
I'm going to give you 2 websites to go to. Go to paincentersnationwide.com. You can see what Dr. Pannozzo has done with golfers. You could go to Pannozzo.tv and see what he's done with people with scoliosis and with headaches. And we're going to do a new commercial ASAP on vertigo.
Oh, I wanted to tell you, I was going to call you yesterday. I saw your commercial on the USA Network yesterday at 12 o'clock. It was really cool about scoliosis.
Yeah.
The one that we did. It's really good.
And what we're trying to say to everybody is, everyone has the right to make a decision. Who they're going to marry, who they're going to divorce, who they're going to see. But, the 2 most important things that people don't make decisions on is their health and their money. Only you, he, I, and everyone in the world should not let anyone tell us what to do about our health and what to do about our money.
Those are 2 things that everybody tells you about.
That's why if your insurance tells you can't go to who you want to go to, you have to go to this guy.
Who do they
You want to
dictate
tell
what
the
to do?
insurance company to take a hike. Don't pay them.
Speaking about that, look what's going on with the candidates. Insurance happens to be the biggest thing. You can't.
Well, if you go to somebody that they say you have to go to or they're not going to pay,
right,
and it turns out bad, who's responsible for that?
Well, it's not
it should be the insurance company because they have the money.
Right.
and they are enabling bad treatment.
Yeah.
So if you get bad treatment, you should sue the insurance company.
Well, Obamacare has destroyed our medical system.
This is all logical
Really.
stuff, you know.
I mean, they've destroyed our medical system, Obamacare. I mean, any doctor I've spoken to.
I just have an article on that.
What do they say?
After this year's spike, this was written in 2015, July, Wall Street Journal. After this year's spike, the average family plan will go up another 11.2% in 2016. So expect it. We haven't seen Obamacare yet. It's coming in 16. Just the year that he's getting out.
That's why
what a coward that guy is. He passes a bad law and then gets out.
Okay, I'm going to interject so we get off the politics subject.
This is not politics.
No, I'm kidding. What I wanted to talk about was athletes again, but I'll wait.
No.
Go ahead. Ask the question.
Go ahead.
No, I wanted to relate to what Freddy was saying about
we have you here for a reason.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's very important from my perspective of the gym side, the fitness industry. I really love what you're saying, and I believe in what you're saying. And I want people out there to know the athletes, and let's talk about LT, who's a very close friend of mine, because I talked to him about you. Athletes have it in their mind that they have to go through surgery. They have to go through physical rehab. They're so conditioned and brainwashed from a long time ago of how it's always been. So now hearing what he's talking about and listening to him, we need to rewire their brains.
Exactly
and the funny thing is, LT didn't want to hear about how he could fix his old injuries because he's wired like all the other athletes, but he did want to hear about how he could improve his golf game.
That's right.
Because that's what we talked about. So
well, that's good because I did the research on the golf swing.
Yeah.
I actually know what causes a golf swing. Then the teachers, PGA guys, do not. They never went to anatomy class. They never go to physiology class. I mean, I don't know what they do. I mean, honestly, I'm not demeaning them.
No, we're just being honest.
But when you want to know what went wrong with the swing and why it hurt you, why Tiger Woods, what happened to him? He went to all the experts. Nobody helped him.
They altered his swing.
You never alter a swing. You should always go back to normal swing.
And the reason it's altered is because of the pain.
Yeah.
Right. He can't swing it the way he normally does. So they change it. They either cock the hip or break the shoulder.
So he had a lot of stretch pain.
Right.
A lot of pain. Every time he swung, he would get a pain. So they would say, well, we got to change your swing.
Right.
But you don't change the swing.
No.
You go back to normal swing. You take the pain away so you have a normal swing. Now, what we do for the golfers, we film them. And so I give them a golf club and go ahead and swing as hard as you want, make a pain, tell me where it is. And they do it on film.
Yeah.
And we have that documented for LT and everybody else to see.
That's the documentation. So now we treat it and we go back to the camera and say, now make it hurt. And they can't. Now, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
And this is 10 minutes.
And I think
this is not 3 weeks.
No.
It's 10 minutes.
No, because you're getting to the origin of the problem.
The source.
That's what nobody understands.
That's what nobody understands.
Everywhere else, but the heart of the problem.
He can't teach you the art of golf. Mm-hmm. But he could get rid of the pain so you can learn the art of golf.
Yeah.
He's not a golfing instructor. In fact, he worked with the biggest trainer that ever lived, Bob Toski.
Right.
And when you go to pain centers nationwide, we have actually showing you golfers that getting back the range of motion that they always had.
Which is
one
great.
story, and then I'll shut up because you guys are doing great together. There was a guy that came in who heard it on Leah's show. And he said he's been hearing that commercial about he could do this, could do that. He said, let me go see. He hadn't played golf, I think, for 6 months maybe, or 8 months, I don't remember. He came in, he gave him a shot, took the golf club. He said, yeah, but this isn't going to work tomorrow when I go out and play. I happened to be there because Tuesday usually him and I meet together. He said, Doc, you should bottle this stuff.
Yeah,
I am playing better golf than I've ever played. I brought in a friend of mine who went to every doctor under the sun for his back. I mean, every doctor.
Right.
He came over to see him. Has he been back?
I don't know what we're talking about. We see so many.
The lawyer, with the long hair?
No.
Okay, why hasn't he been back? I'll tell you why he hasn't been back. Because his handicap is better, and he's playing better golf, and guess what? He doesn't have to go in for baths. It's massage. He's feeling better. So I've seen this.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe it, go on and look for yourself.
Now, is it true you've had almost 70,000 patients you've seen? Wow.
We're up to about maybe 76, 79.
Amazing.
And we can't keep changing the Edward wheel because every month it's more patients.
Yeah.
The last calculation we made, we're seeing 10 new people every day.
Wow, that's great.
New people, never been seen before.
And that's what we need to do.
We have to do that because they're not coming back. I mean,
that's perfect.
That's what we got to advertise, guys.
I get one time at somebody and I fix them, and I'm working myself out of a job.
Yeah.
No, but what Lisa said before, it makes you feel good that you're actually curing someone. It's something that she was right. I mean, I know it has to help you feel good afterwards because you're helping somebody.
Of course.
That's a service I'm offering, so that's what
I love the stories that you tell me about helping people. They walk out like a completely different person.
They're not allowed to walk out without, if they can't produce that pain.
Here's our slogan, Lisa.
Yeah.
Limp in, leap out.
Yeah.
Lisa, what you said is interesting. The Mets signed a former National League batting champion. I'm not even going to say his name.
Don't mention his name.
And this year, he couldn't hit himself out of a closet.
Really?
And he injured his knee. So they're working on the knee, right? It's not the knee. I looked at the tape of him last year on another team and this year, and you put them side by side. What they've done is they taught him how to hit with pain in his hip.
Yeah, of course.
And it changed his swing. And in baseball, a quarter of an inch will change your game.
Well, you played professional ball.
Yes.
And you had the worst position in the world. You were a catcher.
Yes. And a quarter of an inch will change your game. And what really drives me nuts is that you can see it. The normal person can see it. These guys that make all this money can't see it. Yeah. And they won't try something different.
They're afraid, they're conditioned.
They see it, but they don't understand it. And they're conditioned to think a certain way, like Lisa said. And we got to change that.
They're afraid. Their fear holds them back.
How about if we get the trainers in and give them a lecture with a cup of coffee? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would work. You already won me over in, 30 minutes I met you?
It's been taking me 2 years to win her over, and he does it in 30 minutes. I mean, come on.
I really, you know why you won me over? It's the origin of the problem. As a personal trainer in this industry and seeing so many athletes, like what we were talking about, you have hip pain, but it's you think it's your knee, but it's your hip or it's your back, but it's all interrelated. It's all connected, and they're trying to fix everything but the source of the problem.
They're not looking in the right place. You're right.
Exactly, and that's what you do, which is brilliant.
Physiology of pain production. Figure that out.
Yeah.
It's what you do to produce a pain.
Exactly.
Normal physiology does not produce a pain.
Right.
So you have to think that way, and you do. See, instinctively you knew that you weren't getting the result you wanted, and you couldn't figure it out.
Right. Right.
So, see, that's an open mind.
But here's
now, many people don't have
an open mind. That's what I was going to say. I don't have a lot of fear.
You know, when something doesn't work for me, I throw it out.
Yeah.
Going on to something else.
You see, but you're wired different, Doc.
Yeah,
because you look for solutions. Everybody else is trying to understand the problem.
Well, if
that's what's really going on.
If you're also trying to earn a living instead of helping somebody, then you got a problem that way. That's why, you mentioned you go to somebody and they say, oh, you have 12 treatments here. I mean, who needs 12 treatments?
Or you can get 9, depending on what your insurance company. That's the point that I have to try to make with insurance companies. The doctor doesn't say, you need 12. Let me see, you're with so-and-so. Yeah, you need 6 treatments and that's going to get you better. But the other guy said I needed 12.
Right.
Well, your insurance only covers for 6. So, in other words, if 12 was going to make me better, which it didn't, or 6.
Here's what's going on with the insurance companies, if you don't mind.
No, I'm sorry I interrupted you guys earlier. I had to get that point across.
But your clients have insurance.
Right.
And you're restricted on what you can do for them because of that. Mm-hmm. Most insurance companies now, they're guided by the federal government. This is Obamacare.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to get the specialists out of the mix because a specialist costs money. That's so stupid. You can't even believe it that they say things like that. The specialist is the guy who knows everything. He can fix you quicker, which is cheaper. Quicker and cheaper. The general practice guy doesn't have the skills. That's expensive. Physical therapy is expensive. These people don't work for nothing.
No.
They get $150 an hour probably. I'm not too sure because Nobody talks to me about it. But but it's wasted money if you don't have a diagnosis.
Right. Yeah.
Chiropractor's the same way. It's a trade school. They don't make diagnoses.
That's very funny. I don't want to go into
MRIs do not make a diagnosis.
Oh, MRIs. He hates MRIs.
I know. Well, but it's very true what you said. Who's reading the MRIs? The wrong people.
You got hold it.
I like this.
She gets a bell.
She gets
Wait,
2 bells
I
for
get
that
a high
one.
five from the doctor.
Wow, Lisa, great
But
question.
that's the problem, Lisa.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to
Who's
tell
reading
people.
them?
We're
Right.
not saying that Dr. Pannozzo's perfect because God knows he's not. But
Who
the bottom, God told me. But God told me.
I think he's
But-
close to perfect.
But the bottom line is, why can't we look at a different answer to the problem? That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
right.
That's all I want. I don't want to be right, wrong, or indifferent.
No.
But if he can take away that batter or Woods, Tiger Woods, if he can bring them back to where they were, and it
Right.
doesn't work, I'll shut up.
But
I know it's gonna
If
work.
you walk in my office, give me 2 weeks and he's back out there hitting.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we've actually offered this to people. I was going to take whoever they want to any restaurant they want with 4 people, bottle of wine, wherever they want to go. If you could tell me you've gone to Dr. Pannozzo and the pain you came in with, he couldn't fix, and you could show me that, I guarantee you could go. You could go to any restaurant you want. I'll be
Every time you say that, people call me up today, and they're going to say, he did it again. How can he say something like that?
Because it's true. You know what it is? I've learned over my years of being a gambler that you only...
That's not a gamble.
Well, it's not a gamble. I can't lose. Always bet on what you can't win, that you're going to win, okay?
Yeah.
And I've seen it. And I hope you become part of our team so you could see it and help a lot of the athletes that you know to know that you have to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And everyone out there has to be comfortable. Understand one thing. What Dr. Pannozzo gives does not affect any part of your body as far as being bad. I mean, one of the things they tell you for groin injury, I did a whole thing because I was to talk about groin only because there was 8 players are out due to groin injury.
In the NFL.
Larry Donald's out. Ty Montgomery is out. Zach Stacy is going for ankle surgery.
Yeah, ligament damage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he should never go for surgery on an ankle. It's so easy to treat. You put a steroid in it, it heals right over.
And the surgery makes them worse.
Well, they
Makes it
turn
worse.
him.
Right.
They turn his ankle upside down.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad.
Here's what they say about.
I actually treat these things. That's why I'm saying
Yeah.
I am an expert in that. You don't have to do that. You know, runners get pain in their Achilles tendon, which is close.
Yeah, I used to be a runner.
You can't hurt the Achilles tendon. You know that?
Can you snap it? Can you break it?
No.
I thought you could strain it.
I thought you could break it.
No, if you strain it, you're going to get a pinpoint pain at the bone
Right.
tendon interface. You can feel it,
Yeah.
swelling. Steroid goes there and it heals over.
Well,
But
I'm sure.
what if it's normal? Where's the pain coming from?
Where is it coming from?
That's the question.
Diagnosis. So if you're going to have treatments for 6 months for Achilles tendon, you got to figure it's not the Achilles tendon. It's got to be somewhere else.
Well, that's the same thing with Leah. It wasn't the ankle.
Right. So and that was from the lower back.
Oh, wow.
So the lower back will cause pain around the Achilles tendon. But unless you know how to examine it to find out if it's truly there, and you have to learn this over a period of years, my thumb finds things. I mean,
Well,
but
how he found my groin problem, I said, Doc, he put his hand there. Let me tell you, I jumped 6 feet.
Yeah.
Jewish people don't like a lot of pain. And just to let you know, him finding the problem, the needle doesn't, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It's getting a needle in your mouth for dental surgery, that hurts. The needle he gives you is like a mosquito bite, and I tell that to everyone. And you know what? I'd rather, even if your needle hurts, I know what the side effects are with the medicines that are out there, which a lot of these people have to take.
One thing you just said, I have a degree in exercise physiology from the University of Miami. My degree was psychology, but my minor was exercise. Now, let me tell you, I'm a pretty intellectual woman, I feel. I would have never in my life ever guessed, and I'm certified with American College of Sports Medicine, American College of Exercise. Never in my life would I have pinpoint one of my athletes or clients with an Achilles tendon strain that it would be coming from the lower back. I mean, okay, it might be coming from there, but I would have obviously
You would have
thought
dismissed
it's
the
the
thought.
Achilles tendon. And that's the problem with people out there, is that they won't do what you're saying, getting to the heart and the origin of the problem.
No one
There's
studies
so
what he
many
studied.
mistreatments out there.
Well, it's a physiology. You have to understand what causes a pain. You know, I started from scratch. What is a pain?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer that question.
Right. But even understanding physiology a little bit, not like you, I could never do what you do, knowing it would be the back.
Well, first thing, you have no way to treat that,
Yeah.
to see if it works or not. So, but I can do that.
Right,
So if
of
I
course.
suspect it's up there, I can treat that.
Yeah.
And I could be right 99.9% of the time. If not, then the patient tells me.
And now I know you're going to love this one, because this is what all the trainers do. RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation.
Oh, we
That's
love that
all
one.
we'll ever do. Is,
We don't
is
like
That's
any
what
of that.
everybody does.
No, and I'm sure you would
He likes
disagree with
beans.
that. Yeah. No, what
Don't
about
listen to
heat?
rice.
Heat.
No, if you
Rice
have
and beans.
if you have a pain, we want to see it today.
Yeah.
If you get it today, we want to see it today. Or see it tomorrow, then we'll treat it. We'll find out where it is, treat it directly, and you're over with it. No,
Okay, but what about ice and heat? Do you
No.
believe in ice and heat?
No, what's...
That's just a Band-Aid for the pain.
I mean, it's...
It just
Hey,
feels good,
you
like
know-
the stretching.
You know what the doctors used to teach all this? They teach this, yeah.
Yeah.
And the orthopedic surgeons mainly. Why? Because it takes up time.
Right.
I mean, if you had a backache, they used to put you in a bed in traction for 6
Right,
weeks.
right.
Yeah. Oh.
Why?
gosh.
Because they didn't know what else to do.
Or hang you upside
Yeah.
down on those
So the
levitating.
I can see you be hanging upside down.
Physicians will
with
tell
the
you
vertigo.
things.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
The physicians will tell you things to satisfy you because they may not know what to do. They don't want to do the wrong thing for you, so they tell you this. Rest, ice, keep you off your feet.
Right.
What good is it?
Yeah, it's just
Doesn't help.
masking the pain, putting
No.
a Band-Aid on
I mean,
it.
why use ice, first of all?
Inflammation.
If you have an injury,
right.
you want the inflammation to be treated. How does the body treat it? By influx of fluid. Right?
That makes sense.
Okay,
And
so
the
why do you
ice
want
will
to stop
decrease
that?
the
Why do you want to
inflammation.
stop that?
That's true.
Well, I got a good one for you.
That's
I
what
got,
ice does.
I got the latest one talking about ice. The lab. You go into this chamber at minus
yeah.
20 degrees
Yeah.
nitrogen.
Coagenics.
Cogenics. And the girl died last week.
Oh God.
They had a death, the first death in San Diego. So now the federal government wants a doctor present when you use the machine. Only Colorado's doing that. Everybody else, they put you in, they come and get you 3 minutes later. The object of the game is that all the blood leaves the extremities, goes into the organs, picks up all this vital juice. So when you step out of the machine, all that juice goes back and it makes you Superman. Do you know who's leading the campaign for this machine?
No.
He plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He used to play for the Heat. LeBron James.
Oh wow.
That
And
is
because of him, everybody's doing it.
Oh, of course.
Well, you
That
know who
is-
started it? It was started by Floyd Mayweather in Las
Mayweather
Vegas.
uses it too, yes.
And what happens is they cannot scientifically prove that this does anything.
What causes the pain?
The inability to stretch
And what is that?
ligaments.
How does cooling your body
Help
treat a
a
ligament?
ligament,
A
doesn't
ligament needs an anti-inflammatory. That's what treats it, not that. That is the stupidest, unscientific nonsense I've ever heard.
And
It's
somebody
dumb.
died from
The
it.
girl
That's
died from
crazy.
it, yeah.
Somebody died.
Well, you're putting on this tremendous amount. Your body isn't equipped to handle 100 degrees below zero.
What bothered me a lot is people aren't thinking.
No.
Why don't they think about these things?
You know what? People, we live in a culture now. This is just my opinion that people want everything fast. You know, I want a hamburger. Let me go.
Instant gratification.
Exactly. Instant
Right.
gratification. Well, you get it now. I'll worry about it later. Exactly.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. And I think that's what's happening to this country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know, the other thing is if Lisa's using a ham
Damn
grip,
liberals. Oh, I'm sorry.
a ham grip, because Lisa's using it, I want to use it. If LT likes this drink, I want to drink because LT likes it. This is all the McCoys. I want to do what she does. I want to do what he does.
Yeah, but guys like LT aren't going to do anything unless it's right for them. I mean,
Well, look at
they're pretty
Gatorade.
credible
The other
guys.
thing that's coming around now, there's two companies that I know of in this area, Delray, that will take the serum or the white cells from your blood.
Oh,
blood
I've heard about that.
Oh, cell therapy.
The plasma.
That
or
is the
something.
dumbest thing
Yeah.
that you could think of. First of all, stem cells are active before you're born. It's what produces a liver, a kidney, a heart, because the stem cell differentiates into those things.
Right.
But you have to be in utero before you're born. They don't do anything after you're born.
They're going to give you a new liver, Doc.
A stem cell doesn't change into a heart.
It's going to change into another heart.
So they're injecting them into the ligament structure, which you would take an anti-inflammatory, a steroid, to fix it. Not.
And that's got to be extremely
and they're
expensive.
charging $2,000 to $5,000 for that, and it's a scam. Don't do it, people. I'm telling you right now, don't do it.
That raises a question. How expensive are you? Are you very expensive, affordable?
Tremendous.
I think that people want to hear this.
Tremendously expensive.
Reasonable.
Let me do it this way without mentioning money. You tell me if I'm doing right. It's less than dinner for four at the Capitol Grill.
That's true.
Okay, that's good. So people
That's
can
true.
afford it.
You're right.
It's very affordable, and most insurance companies accept it. And you know what? Here's what I say. If you're in pain,
right,
and someone said to me, I can cure that pain for $10,000, a smart person would say, yeah, do it.
Yeah, of course.
You could come for the rest of your life and bring your whole family. It won't cost you that much.
Well, you know that surgery where they have only an inch thing, and they
the spine. I don't want to mention the name of the company.
They're charging $30,000 for that.
Wow, that's crazy.
I fixed those for a couple hundred.
How about migraines?
Migraine.
They were doing Botox at $1,500 a clip. 4 things you would spend $3,000 to $4,000, and guess what? The Botox company found out, man, this stuff doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And all the ads were pulled.
And you don't even know what's going in your body with the Botox.
We know what it is. Know what it is? Snake venom.
Yeah, I would never do any of that.
There's a hospital that was actually putting a commercial for scoliosis surgery, the rods and all that.
Right.
They were putting it on the air and showing kids with these rods, the way they were walking, they looked like mechanical people.
$156,000, and not counting how much it's going to cost you in the hospital.
And not counting what's going to do to you psychologically.
Of course.
But see, it doesn't
do
what they expect it to do. It doesn't improve you. It stops your curve.
It limits your life, Jock.
It limits your life. Right. But what we do, we can actually treat the source of that because we did the research on that, and we can actually see in the younger kids, they reverse right in front of your eyes.
Wow.
I mean, I'm serious about this.
When you come in to see him, he will actually show you the x-rays. But you can go to Pannozzo.tv and see it yourself if you want to see where it shows the bone actually straightening.
The spine.
The spine actually
Turning
straightening.
Wow.
Every shot. And the people come in. Freddie and I have seen people that we hadn't seen like for 6 weeks. We don't recognize
We didn't recognize
them. I heard the show that you were talking about, the lady that you
From
walked
England.
out
Yeah.
the second time you saw her, or third time, with makeup and the green dress.
She changed completely.
Completely. Then that's amazing. And I want to just touch on one thing. Not only does it change them physically, but what you're talking about emotionally, spiritually, mentally, that's what I'm all about. Mind, body, spirit. When you look better, you feel better, your whole life changes.
That's why I feel so good, because I really look good.
Yeah. And that's why I asked you before before the show, I was asking you how great you must feel helping people, because you're a doctor and it's more scientific, but I learned something about you in just this little amount of time I've been on air with you. You said something that you might not even remember. You said that you help heal the people because you get to the source of the problem.
Pain.
You don't just put a Band-Aid on it. You don't just keep seeing them over and over. And it's not just scientific with you. I think because you care more than you actually believe that you do. I see that in you. And I think that people out there need to know that you have compassion and you love what you do and you're great at it.
Well, he's better than great, and a lot of things that he does that a lot of the doctors don't do. I don't know about you. I know a lot about Freddy, but the thing is, when you go to a doctor, they don't want to know where the pain came from. They right away, they don't have the time.
You're like a number.
Yeah.
Right.
The political system at Obamacare has taken away the ability for doctors to really treat a patient. Right. He doesn't care. This guy, he wants you out of his office.
Right, but you want to find a solution.
He wants you to get out of my office.
But he won't let you leave the office until he helps you.
If you can't, and what he does, which is I've never seen anyone do this. This is really, he makes you try to get the pain back.
Yeah.
Bend down. I was with him one day. I said to myself, "Oh my God, Doc, it's time to go to watch." He wouldn't let the lady leave until she could bend And she says, is this going to stay? He said it would be better the next day.
Wow.
We never found out because they never come back.
Yeah, but that's great.
I mean, why spend all this money and all this pain and all the drugs when you don't? That's his second opinion.
Right.
When your second opinion be a first, is what I say.
Yeah,
Go in first before you go for surgery.
The other thing is people want to come back and recheck them. I said, don't come back unless you have a pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
It's only for the benefit of the patient. They should have a life and not depend on somebody looking at them about certain things. Let's fix it and let it go.
So the people listening need to hear us when we say reprogram your brain. Stop thinking the way you've been thinking your whole life. Expand your mind. Let go of the fear and come and see this doctor because he'll help you.
We should do a book together.
All right. I'm working on my third book.
But I have to revise it.
That's a good idea. That is a great idea between someone that does different things than you do and how you could help the people that have pain after working out.
Well, yeah. It's a whole mind, body, spirit connection.
Yeah.
Actually, we should do the seminars where we can actually show people with an audience of trainers, perhaps.
Yeah.
And with patients there.
Mm-hmm.
How to examine them, what should be done for them,
right?
And
how to change their mindset.
Have a background, so when they're looking at somebody, they can say, "Well, you have this hamstring. We happen to know where that is. Here's a doctor who can fix you. Come back, and then we'll have your program."
Right.
That's the attitude that we want to foster.
Yeah.
So that the trainers get busier and busier, and people get healthier and healthier.
And I think what you do is not just help people with their pain. You actually change their entire life. The story you told me about the bodybuilder who walked out, you changed his whole life. So you're not just helping
Freddie,
an injury.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem.
The reason why when you brought him up, Freddie saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was thinner. Mm-hmm. And this guy,
and happier and healthier,
changed his whole life,
and more alive.
How many times did he come back? I think it was once.
Came back once. And do you know that you saved his marriage?
Yeah, he was
because he was on such painkillers. His marriage was getting divorced.
This poor guy.
He got off of everything.
It was with the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So you're a life healer. That's why we met. This is destiny. The universe brought us all together here.
Freddie always brings me some women, and hey, Wes, I want you to meet this one.
Don't say Freddie brings you women. What the hell's the matter with you?
He said, "Oh, this one is good." And when I met you, I was impressed by one thing. You were very smart and knew what your craft was.
Yeah.
And that's what we want with a golf instructor. So no, hey, your craft, like you, is to build and keep someone healthy.
Yeah.
And have good. And if someone gets hurt, you're smart enough now after meeting him to say, "Why don't you go see Dr. Pannozzo?" I've gone to him, which I hope you do.
Yeah, for sure I will.
See what. Because I hate not working out.
Yeah.
Working out to me is my peace of mind. I don't do drugs. So my thing
most
is
people
2 hours a day.
should work out.
Yeah, I love to work out because it makes me feel good. And you know what? I never wore a weight belt in my life.
Yeah.
And all the people that have worn weight belts are in pain on their back.
Oh,
and he told me why.
It's a Band-Aid. They're masking the pain.
You're not stretching. You tell them why.
It limits stretchability.
Right.
Oh, right.
So you get tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to prescribe those, and I figured it out one day. I said, this is really ridiculous. Let's fix it so you don't need that.
Yeah.
Now, there's some guy selling those, a pump-up model.
I saw
Never see that? Dr. Ho. He's a physical medicine guy like me.
Yeah.
Pump-up model of the belt? Oh, God.
Yeah, you put the belt on, then you have a pump, and you pump it up.
Oh, no.
And it gets you tighter and tighter. Well, that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, that's the opposite of what you should be doing.
That's a colleague of mine, and I'm telling you, don't buy it. It's stupid. Don't do it.
And how about that new thing, the curve? You put it on your hand, and electrical beams gets rid of your pain. It might get rid of your pain.
You were really funny the other day because the same guy is advertising this thing, and he's advertising what else?
Chuck Willery, supposedly.
Chuck
Willery is doing the curve.
Holy man.
But he's also doing Australian cream that does it. You write the Australian cream. Now, I can say this because it's true. You rub the Australian cream on your arm, and the pain is going away.
Is that the same as the emu?
The emu, yeah.
What is emu oil?
Emu is supposed to be, you rub it on and it gets rid of the pain. So if you have arthritis.
What's an emu? I thought
an emu is an animal.
Some kind of
It's
bird.
a deer. What about antler juice that they use in the Super Bowl, and they want to throw everybody out of the Super Bowl for using it?
Oh, God.
Ray Lewis used it.
Oh.
How about the sperm from jellyfish now are going to be able to cure arthritis?
Of course.
Oh,
What is
Put
arthritis?
jellyfish on you, cure everything. With the pain, you'll be running down the street.
There's no such thing as arthritis. It's just a term that means a pain. That's all.
Really?
That's all.
So in other words, when they use
Now, if you
ACL.
say rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
Okay. Now you have a rheumatoid arthritis. That is an entity, so to speak.
Okay. But arthritis on
But
a whole.
still, the problem with rheumatoid is the rheumatologists treat that, and they don't use methods that we use to take care of an elbow pain. For instance, if you see somebody with fingers like this, rheumatoid. Well, that's a muscle gets tight right here. You put a shot there, and this thing comes right out. But they don't do that.
You know how many NFL players' fingers look like that?
Oh, God, yeah.
Because they use
Really?
their hands.
Yeah.
Their hands are all twisted.
Yeah, because they use their hands like
Catches.
this to push someone away.
But a lot of that's wrist pain. And
All
some
of it is
it's
wrist pain.
elbow. There's 8 bones in the wrist. Each one is connected by a ligament.
Now, can you straighten them fingers out, Doc?
Yeah.
Can you make that hand normal again, Doc?
Well, I haven't seen them, so I
looking
can't
normal.
tell you. But
Trust me, you can. I've seen enough catchers in the major leagues. One finger's here, another one's over there. They're all over the place, but it's all from the same thing as football players.
Let me give out a really great number. If you want to speak to the doctor directly, I urge you to call after the show is over and give me about 5 minutes to get our stuff in the car. It's 561-381-5800. That's 561-381-5600, and I guarantee you.
5,800.
Did I say 56? Oh, 5800. 561-381-5800.
And
That's
listen,
why
let me
I bring them along with me. I
let
gotta
me
take care of them.
let me clear something up.
The mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Let me clear something up. I didn't bring you a woman. I brought you a professional athlete
Yeah, about time. Yes.
who knows his business and can relate to
How do
not
I
only
lose control of this program?
well, not only does she know people who are in pain, but she uses psychology behind it to try to understand this
Oh, I
thing.
Yeah.
think you're just terrific.
Oh, thank you.
I met her personally because, see how sometimes I like to meet the people that Freddy tells me he wants me to meet, and I was totally impressed by her because
So sometimes.
See, the attitude,
she's
not
intelligent, understands what we're talking about.
and she's and she wants to get the right result,
Right.
and she's open to ideas.
Yeah.
And she knows some of those things don't work, so you got to try something
Right.
new.
Well, and I'm like you. I get to the deep root of people's problems,
There
the
you
core,
go.
the origin. I train a lot of people who want to change their life,
Yeah.
and they're obese. I had one guy I was telling Freddie about who was 500 pounds. He
Oh,
lost
God.
150 pounds with me, and it wasn't because he was eating. It was because he has psychological issues from his childhood. So I, like you, I'm a professional that gets down to the core of the origin of the problem. Where is it starting from? Where is it stemming from? And how do we fix it? Don't mask it. Don't put a Band-Aid on it. Don't go to 12 different doctors who aren't going to help you. Get to the core. So I love
How
that.
fast do you know if you went to the right doctor or not?
Immediately,
Yeah.
I would say.
Because you're intelligent. And,
Yeah,
and-
but
Well, I
too
would-
many people
I would say you
don't
take
know
one or two
that.
treatments. If you're not improved by then you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially at my office. I have a sign on my in my waiting room that says that.
Yeah.
If you're not better in 2 weeks, you're in the wrong place.
Well, and you seem very honest, straight to the point. You say it like
he's
it is.
too honest because he's
But
told me
that's
things.
great, though.
That's the
he'll-
problem. It's too honest.
That's exactly right. I've
Yeah.
never seen him lie about anything. I've seen him tell people. Someone called up and said she has a so-and-so. He says, I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
If he can't help you,
Well, and you need to
can't.
trust your doctor so people could trust you because you say it like it is. That's great.
And we tell people, please don't bring your MRIs. Please don't. Because when you bring your MRIs, it just sets them off.
yeah.
Because they don't help him.
That is not true.
It is true. I seen you. I said, what do you bring me an MRI for? That doesn't help you. Doing the same thing wrong over and over again,
Yeah.
there's a word for that.
Well,
Don't bring it
Insanity,
here.
insanity.
Yeah, I mean, don't bring
Repeating the same
insanity.
thing over and
That's
over
right.
again.
the reason you're coming to him is because what someone read on the MRI is what Lisa said. they hand the MRI to somebody, right? Like
Right, the radiologist.
The radiologist, they
or-
just hand it to the doctor. They don't know anything about the patient.
Yeah.
And it's a two-dimensional thing, and it's hard to diagnose.
You don't know how hard it is to diagnose the source of a pain.
Yeah.
You got to know a lot of stuff.
Right.
Just doing a static film like that is not going to help you.
Right,
Because it's old business.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you bring an MRI, even 6 months old, it's old business now.
Right. And you know your stuff. You can tell.
He's a rookie.
You have to know how the spine works, how the shoulder works, and I went back to the anatomy, and read up on all this stuff to produce the new approaches we use, and they work. And many of them were done on me. I was the first one.
Yeah. His son, either he would fly up to Arizona or someone would fly down, and he would give him the shots to make sure it works. So anything he's done, he's practiced on his whole family.
So your son, would you say he's better than you?
Nah.
Or are you better than him?
Nah, the doc here is...
I keep telling he's number 2.
Do you want him to be number 1?
Of
or
course.
what?
Isn't The Rock Johnson and his father had the same conversation?
Yeah, we did.
Who's the better wrestler?
The Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson. And they have that same competition, but what Rocky did say is he wants his son to be better. Just what you just said. It's a beautiful thing.
Let me tell you something. Any movie he's in, I watch. I love The Rock.
No, he's great.
I've met him at a Mercedes dealership. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
He is the nicest, sweetest guy you'd ever want to meet.
He looks pretty good on the movie. I mean, I don't know if he's hurting or not, but
Oh, I'm sure he has injuries.
Well, he was a wrestler.
So many, he must.
Us three have something in common. We're all University of Miami people. He went to University. So did I. I went a lot more years than you because I had to work my way through college.
Yeah, right. That's because the grades weren't there. All right, we got 2 minutes there, Les.
Well, I want to thank Lisa.
Thank you.
I want to thank you, Doc, because you did, both of you together did a really nice show. It's always good to have somebody on the same that understands what you do. And Freddie, always having you here means a lot because between you and your son getting the word out all over, I still have questions that I haven't read yet.
Hold on to those.
Yes,
we'll use them next week.
And always my girl there who's smiling.
Listen, I wanted to tell you, I hadn't seen this guy, but Dr. Pannozzo has been requested at another radio station in Atlanta. So you're going to be on 2 stations in Atlanta.
Oh, good. I'm good. You tell me now.
And hopefully next week we'll have the letter from New York to let everybody know the times and everything else, so you'll be on in New York on television. So those are the good things coming up.
Yay. Transforming.
561-381-5800. Colleen, I'll see you next week. Freddie, I'll see you. Lisa, we're going to see each other a lot. Dr. Pannozzo, thank you for a great show. It was great having you here,
thanks,
Lisa.
Lisa.
He's great.
This has been the Dr. Pannozzo Sports and Medicine Hour with Dr. Anthony Pannozzo. If you spend 5 minutes with Dr. Pannozzo, you'll see he genuinely enjoys helping others. Visit Dr. Pannozzo online at www.paincentersnationwide.com or call him at 561-381-5800. Dr. Pannozzo will consult with you to determine the best solution to your pain needs. 561-381-5800 is the number to call, even if it's just for a second opinion. Join Dr. Pannozzo next week when he brings you more important information on the physics of weight-bearing and engineered concepts for the body.